Welcome to the Inner Champions podcast. Would you like to promote your business so the world can find you? Or would you like to become a sponsor of the podcast? If so, please contact us on Instagram at Inner Champions Podcast. Lastly, follow our current sponsor at The Real Talk with Jordyn.
Welcome to the Inner Champions Podcast, Season 1, Episode 1. In this season, you're going to learn a lot about your host, myself. I'm going to bring you here for Episode 1 to talk about how I'm here in 2025. To as far back as I can physically remember, or things that have been told to me or that I've had to overcome. So, to take it back to my childhood, I was born 2 pounds, 2 ounces, premature. I had my biological mother and father who lived on drugs and abused the system of welfare to utilize those funds and that money for drugs. I believe this because I've done studies and I've had numerous doctors tell me that that is probably where my disability and or challenge, that I like to call it because I don't believe in the word disability, stems from. It is unfortunate. It is to a point upsetting. It has at times been discouraging in my life, but as I do with everything, I learn to overcome these challenges, and I've had it since birth, so I've learned to adapt to it. Yes, quote unquote, I do have limitations, but again, even with that word, I don't allow myself to seem like, or I don't show that I have these limitations. Kind of skip ahead here a little bit. I also have had the opportunity to meet my biological father. I guess it was his dying wish to meet me. And to be honest with you, I don't even remember what year that was. I know that it was pretty recent, within the last, I think, 3 years. I met him in a hospital setting. He was on his last leg, or, in the hospital, and was fighting some challenges and some difficulties himself. I took a lot away from that conversation. The main goal and main thing that he wanted to be able to let me know was his side of the story, his truth of what he witnessed happen to me growing up as a child. When I say happened to me, I'm talking about the intake that my biological mother did to herself with these drugs and things like that. And there were some personal details and topics we talked about that I do not feel necessary to share at this time. So it was a great honor to step that boundary and meet him. And that's just a little bit about what I've had the opportunity to do. But to get back on track, I went to school all the way through high school and a portion of college with this disability. I didn't allow it to stop me or define me. I was picked on quite a through my school years, but over time, as I matured and I developed into a high school student, I took what peers, sometimes other teachers, said about me and or my challenge, aka disability, and I feel that I thrive with my disability. Been a self-advocate for myself for 32 years and continuing. Again, this has to do with my family strength, my family being there for me in the good times, the bad times, and the ugly times. And it's just one of those things that, and as we'll get into this season more and more about mindset, attitude, nobody taught that to me. I was able to, and still able to, have taught myself that, to learn that, to just, continue to do what I do and continue to do what I've done for 32 years of my life, and I will continue. Then we can jump into, what it was like to be in elementary school, what it was like to be in middle school, and what it was like to be in high school. To be completely transparent with all of you, when I was growing up and going to elementary school, and probably through all of my high school time and everything like that, all the way through grade school, you have those friends that call you friends, but really, at the end of the day, are they your friends? I can honestly say I had about 3 of them, probably all the way through in high school. Unfortunately, being 32 years old, life continued and went on, and I don't talk to those 3 hardly at all. We do keep in touch sometimes, occasionally, on social media platforms and stuff like that. So, you just learn to grow thick skin, or have thick skin. Was it easy? Absolutely not. And I was just fortunate enough to find a mentor, one of my former teachers, helped me through the process, and told me that eventually I would learn how to get through high school. I would learn how to get friends and things like that. So that's it when it comes to the high school part of things. But now we'll go into talking about a little bit beyond high school and some of the stuff I've done away from high school. Now let's jump into a quick chapter of what I've done in high school but not at a high school, or some of the things that I have not had to go through while being in high school. So most of you may know, or for the new listeners that don't know, I have also had the absolute honor and privilege to meet a lot of local legislators for our legislating offices and whatnot. I've had the pleasure to meet our former governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and got to spend the day with him, which was a complete non-forgettable experience, and I will cherish days like this one, as I've had many days to cherish in my life. It was a complete, like I said, honor. Got to speak with him there at the time that I did that. I was in touch with his office multiple times. I have a complete collage of the different items he awarded me, he gave me. I did a lot of things for a organization called the SELPA, and it's part of the education plan for people with challenges, aka disabilities. And I represented them several times. Went up to Sacramento again to talk to these legislators about some certain things and certain concerns that I had as a current student at the time. And I was able to help submit a proposal to the legislators there in Sacramento, California, to make special accommodations for the high school exit exam, because I struggled when it became time to do the essay portion for the high school exit exam. So I went up there to ask for a accommodation to be instilled that I get some extended time for this high school exit exam, and long story short, they granted that opportunity. I was able to take the high school exit exam with my accommodations and some other, things that they were able to inquire into my proposal. And not only did I do that for myself, I did that for my peers and students in the future. So I think that was a pretty incredible moment. And to close it out and finish up with another little piece that I've done, I have done things for Schreier's Hospital. I've done things for a organization called For the Foster Kids, spokesperson for a handful of organizations and or companies. I'm very versed and well-rounded in things within my 32 years of living. I would now like to conclude the first episode, season 1 of Inner Champions podcast. Please do the following. Follow on social media, Facebook, Instagram. Also, don't forget to like us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and probably iHeartRadio podcast coming. Thanks for listening to episode 1, Getting to Know Your Host. Welcome to the Inter Champions podcast.